You checked your blood pressure this morning, and before the cuff even finished squeezing, part of you already knew what the number was going to say? That tightness, that pressure behind your eyes, that feeling like your body is running a little too hard, even when you're sitting perfectly still. You've cut back on salt, you've tried to walk more, you take your medication because your doctor told you to, but somewhere underneath all of that, there's a question you maybe haven't said out loud yet. Is this just it? Is this the rest of my life? A pill every morning and hoping the number stays low enough? Here's what we need you to hear before anything else. Your blood vessels didn't become stiff and narrow because you got older. They became stiff and narrow because the specific compounds your body needs to keep them flexible and open were quietly removed from your food supply over the last 40 years. And today we're going to give them back. There are 4 foods, things you can find at any grocery store right now, that contain the exact compounds your blood vessels use to relax naturally, not by forcing them open like a medication does, by giving them back what they were designed to respond to all along. We're going from the fastest acting to the most important. Stay until the last one, because that's the one you build your mornings around. And it does something none of the others can. The real reason blood pressure rises, here's what your doctor probably told you. Your blood pressure is high because your blood vessels are too narrow, your body is retaining too much fluid, or your heart is pumping too hard. And all of that is true. The medication you take addresses one of those things. Maybe it relaxes the vessel walls, maybe it reduces fluid, maybe it slows the heart rate down. And for a lot of people, that's enough to keep the number in a safe range. But here's the part that gets overlooked, and honestly the part that changes everything once you understand it. Your blood vessels didn't harden because they're broken, they hardened because they stopped getting the signals they needed to stay relaxed. Nitrates, polyphenols, specific antioxidants that directly signal the smooth muscle inside your blood vessel walls to relax. They were in the soil, in the vegetables your grandparents ate. And the modern diet, processed and refined and stripped of everything that mattered, took almost all of it out. Your doctor didn't warn you about this because they weren't taught it. The food industry didn't warn you because it wasn't on the label. And for decades you ate what was available and thought nothing of it. That's what we're fixing today. Food 1, garlic. Garlic. The first food is garlic. And we already know what you're thinking. Garlic for blood pressure, that sounds too simple. Stay with us because the science behind this is genuinely surprising. When you crush or chop raw garlic, it releases a compound called allicin. Allicin is what gives garlic its smell, but more importantly, it's what gives garlic its medicinal power. Once allicin reaches your bloodstream, it triggers the production of something called hydrogen sulfide. That's the same compound your body produces naturally to tell the smooth muscle inside your blood vessel walls to relax. Think of it like a deadbolt on a door. When the deadbolt is engaged, the door won't open no matter how hard you push. Hydrogen sulfide is the key that turns the deadbolt back. It tells those muscle fibers to release. And when they do, the vessel opens, blood flows through with less resistance, pressure drops. A meta-analysis published in 2020 looked at 12 clinical trials using garlic for blood pressure. In people with high blood pressure, garlic reduced systolic pressure by an average of 8 to 10 points. That's not a rounding error. That's the same range of effect you'd expect from a low-dose prescription medication. Now here's what matters. Cooking garlic destroys allicin. If you roast it, saute it, or throw it in a soup, you lose most of the compound that does the work. To get the full effect, you need raw garlic crushed and then left to sit for 10 minutes. That resting period is when the allicin forms. Skip it and you've lost the benefit. Half a clove to 1 clove, crushed, rested 10 minutes, swallowed with a glass of water. That's it. If raw garlic is too harsh on your stomach, mix it with a teaspoon of honey. The honey doesn't interfere. It actually helps buffer the burn while the allicin stays intact. This is your fastest acting tool. You'll feel a difference within 2 to 3 weeks of daily use. Food 2, beetroot. Beetroot. The second food is beetroot. And this is where the science gets remarkable. Beetroot is one of the richest natural sources of dietary nitrates. Not the nitrates people worry about in processed meats. Those are synthetic additives. These are naturally occurring compounds that your body has used for thousands of years to regulate blood flow. Here's how it works. When you eat beetroot, your body converts those nitrates into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is arguably the single most important molecule in your cardiovascular system. It's the chemical messenger that tells the inner lining of your blood vessels, the endothelium, to relax and widen. After 50, your body's natural production of nitric oxide drops significantly. That decline is one of the primary reasons blood pressure creeps up with age. It's not that your vessels are damaged, it's that the signal telling them to stay open is getting weaker and weaker. A landmark study published in the journal Hypertension gave participants 250 mils of beetroot juice, about 1 glass, and measured their blood pressure over the following 24 hours. Systolic pressure dropped by an average of 8 points. And here's what separated this from a typical blood pressure pill. The effect lasted a full 24 hours from a single dose, 1 glass. All-day protection, no side effects, no dependency. The most efficient method is beetroot powder, 1 teaspoon stirred into a glass of water. Same effect, fraction of the cost, keeps for months. Take it in the morning on an empty stomach, about 20 minutes before eating. Your body absorbs nitrates most efficiently when there's no competing food in the digestive tract. One important note, if you've been told to avoid foods high in potassium or oxalates due to kidney concerns, check with your doctor before adding daily beetroot. It's generally safe at food amounts, but concentrated beetroot powder is potent. Food 3, hibiscus tea, bitis hartzenich, tetio. The third one surprises almost everyone because this isn't a food you eat, it's a tea you drink. And the studies on it are extraordinary. Hibiscus tea is made from the dried calyces of the Hibiscus sabterifer flower. It's tart, deep red, and it's been used as a traditional remedy for high blood pressure in cultures across the world for centuries. But traditional use is one thing, clinical evidence is another. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition compared hibiscus tea directly against a common blood pressure medication, lisinopril. People with moderate hypertension drank 2 cups of hibiscus tea daily for 4 weeks. The result, a reduction in systolic blood pressure statistically comparable to the medication group, not somewhat helpful, not a nice supplement, comparable to a prescription medication. The mechanism is different from anything else on this list. Hibiscus contains anthocyanins, the compounds that give it that deep red color, and these act as natural ACE inhibitors. ACE inhibitors are one of the most commonly prescribed classes of blood pressure medication. They work by blocking an enzyme that causes blood vessels to constrict. Hibiscus does the same thing, but through food rather than a synthetic compound. 2 cups a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. Steep 1 tablespoon of dried hibiscus in hot water for 5 to 7 minutes. Don't add sugar. Sugar doesn't just negate the benefit, it actively promotes the inflammation that stiffens your vessels in the first place. One important note, if you are currently taking a blood pressure medication that is an ACE inhibitor or a diuretic, talk to your doctor before adding daily hibiscus tea. The effect can compound with your medication and drop your pressure too low. This is not a warning to scare you. It's a reminder that natural doesn't mean weak. These compounds are genuinely powerful and they deserve the same respect you would give any other intervention. Food 4, extra virgin olive oil with fresh lemon juice. Now stay with us for this last one because everything we've shown you so far helps. Garlic signals the vessels to relax. Beetroot restores nitric oxide. Hibiscus blocks the enzyme that constricts them. They all work, they all matter. But this last one does something none of them do. It addresses the root cause of why your blood vessels stiffen in the first place. Extra virgin olive oil combined with fresh lemon juice taken every single morning on an empty stomach. You've heard of olive oil, you probably cook with it, but what you're about to hear is almost certainly not how you've been using it. Extra virgin olive oil has the highest concentration of polyphenols of any edible oil. 2 specific compounds, oleuropein and hydroxytyrosol, do something very direct inside your blood vessel walls. They protect the endothelium, that's the inner lining of your arteries, the layer that produces nitric oxide naturally. After 50, the endothelium thins. It becomes damaged by oxidative stress, the same process that rusts metal happening inside your blood vessels every single day. And when the endothelium is damaged, it can't produce nitric oxide efficiently. The signal telling your vessels to relax gets weaker and weaker until the vessels simply stay tight. That is what high blood pressure actually is. Olive oil polyphenols are the most potent dietary antioxidants ever measured for protecting that endothelial lining. They don't just stimulate relaxation, they repair the system that produces relaxation on its own. The lemon juice isn't optional here, it's the activator. The vitamin C in fresh lemon works synergistically with the polyphenols in olive oil, extending their effect and improving absorption. Your body uses the combination differently than it uses either one alone. 1 tablespoon of cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil, dark glass bottle. Label must say cold-pressed and extra virgin, not pure, not light, not just olive oil. Those words mean processed and stripped of everything that matters. Mix it with the juice of half a fresh lemon in a small glass every morning on an empty stomach. Wait 20 minutes before eating. Researchers followed adults over 50 who consumed this combination daily for 8 weeks. By the end of that period, 3 out of 4 had measurable reductions in both systolic and diastolic pressure, and the improvement continued to build even after the study ended because they hadn't been forcing their vessels open. They had been repairing the system that keeps them open on its own. Not managed, repaired. The morning protocol, let's make this as simple as possible because information without a plan is just noise. Every single morning on an empty stomach, your olive oil with lemon, that is your foundation. That is the one you never skip. That is what repairs the endothelium day by day, 3 or 4 mornings a week. Add the garlic, half a clove, crushed and rested 10 minutes. That's your signal booster, the one that tells your vessels to relax today. Every morning, 1 cup of hibiscus tea. That's your ACE inhibition, the one that keeps the constricting enzyme blocked. 4 or 5 mornings a week, beetroot. 1 teaspoon of powder in water. That's your nitric oxide restoration, the one that replaces what age took away. 4 foods, clear rolls, nothing complicated. 2 minutes every morning. Here's what the timeline honestly looks like. Days 3 to 5, you may not notice much. Don't stop. The compounds are building in your system even when you can't feel them. Around the end of week 2, you might start to feel a little lighter, less pressure behind the eyes, maybe a slightly easier time with stairs. That's your endothelium starting to respond. Week 4, this is where it gets real. If you're tracking your blood pressure at home, you'll likely see a drop of 5 to 12 points systolic. That's not a guess. That's the range the studies consistently show when these foods are combined and used consistently. Week 8 and beyond, the olive oil polyphenols have had time to do structural repair. The endothelium is measurably healthier. Nitric oxide production is measurably higher. You're not just managing your blood pressure anymore, you're addressing why it went up in the first place. Now let's be very clear about something. If you take blood pressure medication, do not stop taking it because of this video. That is not what this is about. These foods are tools. They work with your body, but they are not a replacement for a conversation with your doctor. If you're on an ACE inhibitor, a diuretic, or a beta blocker, talk to your doctor before adding any of these consistently, especially hibiscus tea, which can compound the effect of those medications. What you want is a partner who listens, not one who dismisses something just because it comes from a kitchen instead of a pharmacy. For decades, you've been told that high blood pressure is just part of getting older, that the best you can do is take a pill and accept the number. That was never the full truth. Your blood vessels want to work. Your endothelium wants to produce what it was designed to produce. It just needs the right materials to do it. Materials it had access to for generations, until quietly, without anyone asking your permission, those materials were taken off your plate and replaced with something cheaper. You are not broken. You were just never given the right tools. 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil with fresh lemon juice. Tomorrow morning, empty stomach. That is where this starts. Before you go, what's your blood pressure number right now? And what has your doctor told you about food and blood pressure? Drop it in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you have someone in your life quietly dealing with this, a spouse, a parent, a close friend who mentions the number but never really talks about what it means, send them this video. Sometimes it's easier to share than to start that conversation yourself. Subscribe to Nature Cures because the next video matters just as much as this one.